I'm I have my longtime friend and a very successful person, super inspiring person here with us. He'll be sharing a fascinating story about how he has started a Salesforce consulting company from scratch. Someone with no IT background got into the tech industry, and furthermore, he even started a Salesforce consulting company and is doing pretty well. Are you excited to find out? I'm so excited to learn more about his journey in being a Salesforce consulting company owner. All right, let's go. Hi, Josh. How are you doing?
Hey, Sayed, how's it going, man?
Hey, Josh. So tell me, please, you are a Salesforce consulting company owner. How has it been as a company owner?
It's been a journey. Salesforce has been quite the opportunity for me. So, looking for a startup in a company, Salesforce has been quite the boon, and we're growing on a monthly basis. It's pretty exciting. Right now, we're a team of three and a half, I guess maybe four, of three full-time employees, and then we work with a subcontracted team, and we're winning business, and we're working our way through learning all the details, right? The delivery, the sales, the marketing. I mean, there's no loss of things to learn in a startup for sure.
Cool. What's your company name?
Dynamic Specialties Group. I think we can right there. Yeah, Dynamic Specialties Group, and it actually comes from my background. I was thinking about the company when it was just way back when it was just me, right, in 2017. And I was like, what is it that the company can bring to the table? And it's being dynamic in the skill sets. Like, been a paramedic, I've been a counterintelligence agent, I've done construction, an entrepreneur, worked in IT. I mean, very dynamic, and our company is as well because of the people we're building it with.
And you've been dynamic in your life too, right? Constantly figuring out, pivoting the right thing, constantly trying, working with mentors, and improving your product lineup.
Indeed. Yeah, it's been a bit of a journey with a fair amount of what are those called, learning opportunities, opportunities where I didn't quite meet what I intended to do. I've been through a couple of restarts, probably 3 or 4 restarts, moved several times, and all for the better. I mean, every time you get the opportunity to learn something new and step forward rather than stop or step backwards.
Cool. You have 3.5 employees. So 3 full-time employees, 1 part-time employee.
Right. So 3 full-time employees, and then we sub out some of the more specialized work. And so we look to our partners that we do the sub work with is sort of a part-time role, I suppose.
That's amazing, because I know how expensive it is to run payroll in the US. There's so much workers' compensation, social security payments you have to do, and it's very expensive to employ someone in the US, right? And in the world's richest country. That's amazing that you're creating jobs, you're feeding
Yes.
families. People are depending on you, and that's amazing that you've already been able to accomplish this.
Well, so Salesforce is a great opportunity because it's an entry level opportunity, right? But yet it's an in-demand skill set. So Salesforce is a complex system, and what I came to the conclusion is I come from the country. I have a blue collar background. I can work on cars, people, computers, all the same, right? And they're just systems that you have to understand and fix them. Well, that mentality, that background, I've been helping others who have a blue collar background cross-train into IT, and we're finding that the ability to work with complex systems and keep them in your mind rather than having to write them down. If you grew up doing that, it's more intuitive than if you're trying to learn it at a later stage in life. And what I've come to discover is folks that I grew up with have that kind of system think built in, and all we have to do is teach them a new tool. And so what we're doing is we're bringing good jobs to folks who are deserving of the jobs, and we're providing life-changing opportunity here, right? I mean, taking a transition from a local blue-collar job to a national level IT job can really make a difference in one's life. And if you don't have to move to a city center to enjoy the benefits of that job, it's even more life-changing because you get to retain that competitive pay, but yet you're outside of the highly expensive area. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a win-win. And so what we do is we invest up front. we source folks who we know have those skills that are hard to teach, you know, customer service, work ethic, showing up early, understanding how complex systems work together. We look for those skills, then we bring them on board and train them in Salesforce and train them in being a business analyst and learning how to work agile, because chances are they already know agile. They just don't know how we call it agile. They've been doing it all their lives. And so we take and invest up front, and then we place our new hires on projects and help them grow into their experience, because they take to it pretty quickly. And where something might take 1 to 2 years for somebody who isn't good with working with large systems, I mean, we've seen people spin up inside of a month or 3 and be really, really effective on the project team. So it's pretty exciting for us, and that's one way that we're benefiting, but we're also giving back in the process. We're taking what we've learned and what we know from our experience and sharing it with others.
So you hire people with no Salesforce background?
Generally speaking, yeah.
Wow.
I prefer to.
Wow. And you train them yourself or give them like trailhead, you guide them so that they become client facing ready?
Well, as you know, I think all of us have been through your course at one point or another, right? And I think only one of us hasn't actually attended your course yet, but will once we get to the developer level, right? So he needs a year of experience or so before we start putting him in his platform developer course, which as I did, because you just don't have a frame of reference to go jump in, both feet in and be effective. The most you're going to get is a good reference book for when you're gaining your experience to understand some of the words a little bit better. But I think having some time in the saddle is very, very valuable for folks. And
wow.
and well, everything's experience, right? And so that's what your course provides. The way you structure it is it's structured like being part of a project team. And so as they're growing and learning their Salesforce concepts, they're also getting the experience of the language, the daily huddle, the doing the business analyst aspect of it, learning how to ask the right questions and how to dress when they show up to class. I mean, these little things that they may sound small, but it's the little things that make all the difference. And if you do those little things right and you do them well enough times in a row, well, you just have no opportunity to fail there. And that's what your course does for folks, is it gives them the opportunity to learn those little details so they can take this new certification they have, combine it with all these skills and this life experience they have, and jump into a job and get the work experience they need to be truly successful in their career.
That's amazing. So your company is not only like serving customers, but your company is also transforming lives of people.
Well, so the purpose of my company is to live well and help others do the same, right? Like, so I've worked for quite a few companies in my life. I've been a worker since I was about 10 years old. I think that's the first time I took money for doing work, right?
Really?
And it's hard to find a company where I felt like I was valued and that the compensation was appropriate, that the profits of my labor was shared, right? And then I started to learn things about like billing rates and so forth, and I saw the differences. Now, being a businessman, I know that there's other things besides hourly rate. I mean, you got to talk about insurance, you've got taxes. I mean, all sorts of overhead expenses that a business has to pay for an employee. And I understand that, but what's beautiful is Dynamic Specialist Group is owned by me, and my intent is to share the profits with the people who generate them, right? Like I believe that we can that when we all achieve together, we achieve more. And so it's my belief that, sure, I might be a millionaire someday, but I will only do so if I can do it by enabling and uplifting people rather than exploiting them. And I think that's terribly important. I think it's critical, actually. I think it's critical to share the profits, if you can, with the people who are generating them.
So how long has it been that you've started a company, Josh?
So Dynamic Specialties Group, we've been operating full time for a little bit better than a year now. Actually, the company's been around since late 2017. Of course, as many consultancies start out, I was doing some side hustle, generating some revenue, and it kind of grew out of there.
So you're full-time DSG employee. You're full-time. You dedicate DSG, right? You don't have like a full-time gig and do this on your side. You do
No, this is full time. Yes, this is full time. We support ourselves 100%.
Wow. And as a business owner, do you make less than what you did when you were an employee?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But you're investing. It's an investment, right? It's an
Yeah.
investment in your future because up front, you've got responsibilities and you take care of your employees and your company first, and then you invest in the returns back into that company and let it grow. And the hope is that someday the company will take care of you. I mean, sure, it'd be a lot easier to work for somebody else, but that's what a startup is, right? It's an effort. It's the grind, right? And if you put in enough effort up front, there's going to come a time where it will return to you in dividends. You just have to have faith and continue plodding along. I mean, it really is just a slog on a daily basis, but that's what startups are. If I wanted it easy, I'd work for somebody else.
And your company, you've only been in business for 1 year full time, and yet you already have 3.5 employees. Amazing.
Yeah, right. It is pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. And Josh, it's pretty amazing, actually. I think like a lot of people would just have part-time employees or contractors, but you have W-2 employees, full-time employees. That's amazing that you can support.
You have to. I think it makes a difference in the quality of product, right? In the investments that I'm making in the people. I'm investing in their growth in time, and I'm also picking individuals that are going to represent the qualities of the company as I'd like it to be represented as we grow, and that's critical. The more people we add on the team, the more others are going to have to be able to express the values and the processes of how our company runs. And if the longer I wait to invest in that, the longer before we have the solid foundation that'll allow it to scale appropriately. As it stands, it's my belief that the executive support structure actually should be a reverse triangle. That the highest ranking person is the one with the greatest amount of servitude at the bottom. It's their job to support all the others. It's not their job to do the jobs of the others, but to find the ways that they can support the others in doing their jobs the best. And so if we don't practice that from day one, you can't implement that 5 years into a company. Well, you can, it's just very, very much harder. So we're doing it from day one. So it's in our DNA. So there's never anything to teach. Just like process is part of our DNA, right? We look at everything, we're like, all right, well, there's a process here that needs to be documented, that we can implement, or that we can grow and refine over time.
I think you've done really well. In my personal opinion, I think you've done really well in just 1 year. 1 year is not that much time. And you're breaking even. You even can pay your bills, and you hired people. That's amazing. Well done, Josh. If you could give advice to others who want to become Salesforce consulting, I believe most of the viewers here are here to find out how can they become a Salesforce consultant, or that's something on their mind. But everyone is afraid. How will I find customers? How will I make any money? How will I negotiate the rate? A lot of questions, a lot of fears on everyone's minds. But you overcame your fears. You started working, taking the risks. If you could give 3 pieces of advice to someone who wants to start a Salesforce consulting company, what would be they?
Wow, that's a big question, Seyit. And to say that we're successful in a year is a terrible summarization. But it's all the failures.
You're breaking even. You're hiring people. You have customers.
It's all the failures that led up to it. The many companies that didn't work that have led to the opportunity for us to get where we are today. And so it's important to recognize there's no such thing as easy. Number one, no such thing as easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it, and there would be no value in it.
Exactly.
So number one, plan on working hard. And oftentimes success doesn't look like what you see on the YouTube videos. Oftentimes it's 12-hour days and not going out with your friends and wondering if you're going to make the bills. So be prepared to grind it out, because that's what it takes to start any company, including a consultancy. Number two, yeah. Well, and there's all the studying that led up to it, right? I mean, remember your class? What, 2-3 hours a day plus homework every day of the week?
Yes.
Plus a full-time job, right? I mean, these are things like these are things that are easily forgotten when one has summited the mountain, and they're giving like, oh, go for Salesforce, but it was a lot of work in the beginning. You know, a lot of trust and a lot of investment that if we just kept doing the right thing, it'll work out.
So you're suggesting that before a person becomes a consultant, or like before they start a consulting company, they know Salesforce well enough themselves?
Oh, well, let's a mechanic should probably, or you know, somebody should probably not start an auto shop with never having been a mechanic before, right? And that goes without saying for other things. You need to get experience. I was recently talking to a client who wanted to bring their young adult child into the company as a Salesforce consultant. I was like, that's a great idea, but they don't have any experience yet. Send them out to a consultancy and let them learn, get some exposure, understand what does and doesn't work. I mean, you don't want a teenager, a 16-year-old who's just got their driver's license out driving, Formula One. They need some time, need some experience. And so I think that's critical, is you have to get out and get experience. And what's challenging is that you're going to get your Salesforce cert, and then you're going to have to take an unpaid internship to get that experience. And you're just going to have to do that, because that's how it's done, because nobody's going to pay you without some degree of real world exposure. Okay.
So you're suggesting before someone starts a Salesforce consulting company, they themselves work as a Salesforce consultant at like Deloitte, PwC, or one of the other shops?
It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't even have to be, but it does help. I mean, the doctor with the first day on the job, I'm probably gonna want somebody with a little bit of experience rather than the med student. And it's similar with the consultancy. Your clients are trusting you with a vital part of their business, and they need some reassurance that you're not gonna, by an accidental keystroke, leave them vulnerable in some way, shape, or form, just because out of a lack of understanding or experience. And so it's good, yeah. And so you go out, get a little bit of experience, and then you can combine that with some business sense, and kick off a consultancy. It's completely possible, but I wouldn't do it completely cold.
How many years of experience do you think it would be good to have before starting Salesforce consulting company as a consultant?
Well, I guess that would depend on the level of experience and your individual experience, right? So if you've got business savvy and background, and you understand how to do payroll and accounting and annual taxes and stuff, and you don't have to learn those while you're learning to build a consultancy, well, maybe a little bit less time. Maybe you can get away with it in a year or two and not really stress about it, and really focus on the consulting aspect, not the business aspect. Mm-hmm. If you've never run a business before, and you've never been a consultant before, and you're just learning Salesforce, well, that's 3 things you got to learn through. Very, very complex things you have to learn on the fly. There's not a lot of folks out there who would recommend you learn 3 complex things on the fly. They would probably encourage you to focus on one thing at a time and grow that. And so you have to be truthful with yourself, just like in any journey, right? If you can't ride a bicycle, you should not set out to do a transcontinental bicycle trip. You should probably get some training wheels and start riding your bicycle.
Cool. So 3 important skills to have that you would suggest, like running a business, payroll, taxes, the state taxes, federal taxes, and then second was just learn Salesforce, and third is have a consulting role in a project.
I mean, just bid and proposal in and of itself is an intense process that can take a little bit of time, and there's probably few are the clients who are going to be like, oh yeah, sure, we'll give you some money, no worries. Don't worry, you don't have a proposal, I'm not worried about it. They're going to want something that they can review that shows that you've logically thought out their problem and have a clear conclusion on how to solve that problem. If you've never written a proposal before, you don't know what an RFP is, well, that does complicate the matter a smidge.
Cool. So I think that was the second advice. What's the third advice you would give?
For starting a company?
Yes. For example, I am a Salesforce consultant right now. I know Salesforce, and let's say I have run a small business before. Okay, I'm ready.
Oh, you ready?
What advice would you give me?
Surely, build your networks. Build your networks in this ecosystem. Everybody can use Salesforce, but not everybody's aware that they can use Salesforce, nor are they prepared to engage Salesforce. And so if Salesforce is going to be the linchpin of your business, then you better be certain that you can reach the people who are using or aspire to use Salesforce so that you can provide them services surrounding that platform. But yeah, it really is, right? So attending these Salesforce sponsored events, attending networking events. I mean, all of these things, career fairs are a great opportunity. Why? Because you have other potential employees, people who are trying to do the same thing you are, so you can learn from them and network with them. They're going to have jobs in the next 6 months, probably, or quit, one or the other. There's a lot of companies there that you can network with, you can learn from. I mean, these are great spaces where they're free for you to get involved in. There's a plethora of online virtual events these days that give you the opportunity to begin interacting with folks. And then there's the platforms themselves, Twitter and LinkedIn. It's harder to establish that, that interpersonal connection at a distance. But say it, how long did we know each other before we actually met face to face, right? I mean, it's possible. You can build your networks remotely. You just have to put more effort into understanding those people and truly building the network rather than connections.
What kind of network has worked best for you? Is it like LinkedIn networking, like cold messaging people, or the Salesforce meetup, Trailblazer community groups? What has?
I'd say the Trailblazers. If we were to go with LinkedIn versus Trailblazers, warm is much better than cold always, right? And so when we have something in common, which is we're attending this Trailblazer event together because we both want to learn about Salesforce, that's a great network. And now that person may go off and work for one of the big consulting firms, and they're eventually going to come across somebody that needs help but isn't in their bailiwick, right, in their wheelhouse. So they need some place to send them, and that's how your networks work for you. Is that, and then you can also help them, right? Because you're going to come across clients that aren't good for you, and you can refer them along, and that's how we win, right? When we all win together, we win more.
I see. So you're a regular attendee of Trailblazer community group events?
I wish. No. I work 12-hour days, but my team is, and I do.
Oh, really? You send out your team to attend?
So I do send my team. I encourage my team to attend as many training events as possible, and we do a lot of those Salesforce review events. Actually, I love having those in the background. Not only do you get to hear interesting people talk about real world challenges, but you get to learn, right? You're like, oh, well, somebody solved what problem? I ran into that yesterday.
Oh, interesting. Cool.
I personally spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, but I've also been building it since before I graduated college. And so I've curated that social platform for a long time. So there's a lot of benefit in it for me. But if you were starting cold and you didn't have a large network, I would say attending as many in-person events, as many cohort events as possible is a great way to kickstart that.
Cool. All right. So these were the 3 suggestions you gave, right? The first one is just work hard. That's what Elon Musk said. There is no way around it. You got to work hard, outwork the competition, right? Give terrific service to your customers. Second is you got to have different skills. You're running business skills, Salesforce skill, and then consulting skill. And the third suggestion was just network, right? Meet like-minded people, meet potential colleagues, potential customers, partners, just engage the community. Okay.
Absolutely.
Very good advice. As a owner of a fast-growing Salesforce consulting company, Josh, what has been the biggest struggle for you? Is it finding customers, or is it finding team members, or is it just delivering good quality, or is this something else that's just bugging you? What's the biggest difficulty for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we're not new at this. We're just new as a company, right? And so I understand how to run a business, and I understand how to deliver, but understanding how to do those things under your own power, I think that's been really an interesting journey for us. And so we figured out delivery. We've always known how to give quality, but learning how to give quality in a replicable manner that's able to be scaled, that takes some learning. We got that. Learning the sales, we're not doing too bad there. That's a process, lifelong. But I'll tell you, marketing's really challenging. Didn't anticipate it. I thought it'd be a lot easier than it is, but marketing is definitely a high degree of effort and a real skill set that's that's worth paying for. That's worth paying for, because it doesn't matter how good you sell or how good you deliver if you don't have clients or potential clients coming into that funnel, that pipeline. Well, all the other things they're hard to do without people to do them for. So yeah, that's a real challenge, and probably the one we're working through most diligently now. But it's going well.
So the most difficult part for you is marketing, right? Which probably means finding new customers, right? Signing new deals.
Well, I would say signing deals is more the sales aspect, but finding people who are interested, who are ready to, who are in need of the product that it is that we sell, right? Getting connected with those folks, that's the marketing. And inbound marketing is so much better than outbound marketing, right? And so that takes time. That's a pump that needs primed. You've got to generate content. You've got to generate content that's meaningful and useful to the clients you're trying to reach, which that comes with its own requirements, right? So a question that many folks don't really initially answer is, who's my client? It's a big question, but when, perhaps if you're new at starting businesses, you're like, well, anybody's my client. I'll take work from anybody. And sure, a startup will take work from anybody, but to go find that client, you need to know what they look like. Where are they, what are their watering holes? What is it that they need? Are they a large firm and a mid-sized firm? Are they in the financial industry? Are they in the insurance industry? Perhaps they're nonprofits. Like, if you don't know what that client looks like, it's hard to find them. Well, until you serve a couple of clients, well, it's hard to know what your clients look like. And so these things build on each other over time. And by the time you get to all right, I know what my client looks like, then you can start to understand what's useful content for them. Because useful content to me, and you say it, is way different than useful content to a standard Salesforce user. And they don't need to know about how to use Apex code to automate a process on the back end. What they need to know about is how to log in, reset a password, and use their reports and dashboards, because that's critical to their daily success. Right? But so I was out building training videos for us, and I didn't realize that the content I was creating was not interesting to our customers.
Josh, there are a lot of Salesforce consulting companies out there, yeah? I don't know, maybe like a couple of hundred at least, right? Just in the US.
At least.
How do you stand out in the competition? What makes you different? Or do you have anything different? Or are you just winning by price? Or you have a certain niche, geography? I don't know, maybe you focus on military-owned businesses. What's your niche?
You should never compete on price, because then you can't compete on value. And so I believe that we are one of the best values on the market, and it's because we focus on the little things, the simple things. We ensure there's a good foundation and grow. We do the little things well, and the rest follows suit. Because big things are just a conglomeration of little things, a gathering of little things. And so in our DNA, we focus on doing the small stuff well, delivering quality, and giving away our value early on. And I think that makes all the difference, because it builds trust.
What are those little things?
I think it's all the little things, but so let's say how we show up to a meeting, the clothes we wear, right? The way we come to work. Every morning we do a daily huddle.
Really?
Weekly, we do a strategic huddle. Monthly, we do a strategic planning review. Quarterly, we strategically plan for our company, and annually, we set our goals. But we take that level of planning to our customers as well, right? We do our discovery in a similar manner, paying attention to the details, digging in and understanding. Yeah, of course we're responsive to emails, but that's just who we are. That's not, I don't have to tell my team to be responsive to emails. They wouldn't be on our team if they weren't, because that's just who they are in their person.
Do you have a certain product? Okay, you have something concrete you can say that makes you different? Because many companies can say they pay attention to details, they're good at service. Do you have something, special service, special product, or something that?
Sure. Well, so I believe it's critical to build trust, right? A lot like dating. You're not just going to walk out and marry somebody. It takes time, and you got to build that trust between the two, right? Well, when a business is getting ready to pay a decent amount of money for a service, they're not going to do it without trust involved. And so we offer the as needed admin service, which is it's an entry level service, right? Where we provide a basic admin to knock out backlog tickets, things that people have hanging around. I need a password reset. I need some users added. I need an exported import, ports built, something like that. And so what we do with the as needed admin is it's truly as needed. There's no upfront fees. There's no deposit. You call us, you tell us you need somebody, we'll come do the work for you and we'll bill you for it. It's that simple. And what that allows us to do over time is that the client gets to see that they can trust us to do what we say we're going to do. And we get to learn the client a little bit better. And so we can understand what it is that they truly need. So that when they decide to move forward with a larger product, moving up in their SLA tier, if we want to talk about it, but moving on to a project where they need more work done, it's going to be a higher skill level, we can better advise them. And they can know that the words we're telling them are the truth and not just an effort to tell them what we think they need so that we can get some money out.
What is the name of this program? Admin?
The as needed admin.
As needed admin. Okay.
As needed admin. And so say $75 an hour, and it gets you an admin to knock out work for you. And what's beautiful about it is rather than bringing in an in-house employee, because a lot of companies are like, hey, I got Salesforce, I need somebody to do something about it, but I don't need a full-time employee that I got to pay, all the bennies to, and if it doesn't work, well, whatever. So what we can do is we can fill that void, that in-between gap where they're like, hey, I need somebody, but I'm not ready to take on somebody. And we can do it at no risk, right? I mean, if we get together and we're working for a couple hours and they just say, hey, it's just not working, that's okay. Sometimes it doesn't work. Not everybody you date or you're going to marry. That's entirely okay. And everybody can walk away unscathed and unhurt, But what we found is we haven't had anybody walk away yet. We've had clients decide to stay and grow their business and continue to work together because we learn each other and we establish that partnership.
I see. So if a company needs a Salesforce admin, instead of hiring someone full-time, they could engage your company and you will have like a dedicated Salesforce professional help them with their tickets.
Absolutely. And what's more is that basic admin's backed up by our entire team. So if something gets really wonky, sideways, or weird, they have somebody to turn to in the seat next to them and go, hey, you ever seen this before? And we can help them. Where if you hire in an admin, a junior admin, well, you got a junior admin. You don't have a developer and a consultant and all of these people right next to them that can help them anytime. So I think it's a low risk, high value opportunity for clients to test us out and us to test them out. We can get to know each other a little bit.
And when they engage you for this kind of an agreement, do they have to subscribe to like 100 hours or 50 hours or just pay as you go?
As needed.
Pay as you go, really? Wow.
Well, I mean, how often do you pay for your doctor? I mean, usually you only pay for your doctor when you need them. I don't know. I'm just thinking it makes sense, right? Sure, there's risk on our part. Maybe somebody's going to come in, use us for a couple hours and walk away, but okay. I'm willing to take that risk. If you want to develop a good relationship, you got to put yourself out there. And so we're willing to put ourselves out there and help people out. And yeah, it might not work out sometimes, but more often than not, the overwhelming majority, it's going to work out just fine because most people are good people.
I think that's a really good deal for a company to engage a professional Salesforce consulting company just on an hourly basis as you go. Otherwise, from what I know, a lot of them like to lock you in for a certain number of hours. And once you sign the agreement, boom, then you got to try to make them work hard. And
Right. And everybody knows that's coming, right? That's what everybody's so scared of. That's why we spend so much time in this proposal process. And both sides are just like fearful. Yeah. There's so much fear. Let's just get rid of the fear. We'll take the risk. We'll take it. Yeah. We'll give you an opportunity to try us out. Chances are we're probably going to like each other, and chances are we're going to get someplace. And we could probably do it more efficiently because that's where we really need to be. We need to be focused on getting work done because we're all businesses and we need to be focused on what it is that we do. Business, not this back and forth stuff.
I think that's amazing, dude. Guys, if you work for a Salesforce consulting company who needs some outsourcing Salesforce professional help, talk to Josh's company. They have good professionals who are ready to help you. I think it's a very good deal. $75
Thanks.
for a professional from within US, like native English speaker, super customer friendly and technically savvy. $75 now is very affordable, I think. Like, I think admin help maybe $125 typically, yeah, at least. So you're winning on the rate and the skills and I know some of the people from Josh's company. Actually, I think they're very professional people. Some of the nicest people I've ever met, really. And I personally would recommend you try them out for a couple of hours, right? What's the worst thing that's gonna happen? You lose $75 or $150, right?
That seems pretty reasonable, doesn't it?
Right. That's no. They don't lock you in. You don't like it, that's it. You stop away. They don't get upset with you. They didn't have any expectations that you sign up for 10, 20, 50 hours, right? That's I think it's very transparent, low risk engagement for you as a customer. Try them out. Yeah, if you don't like them, boom, you can go and talk to a bunch of other companies out there. But Josh's company, I think, is doing something very interesting. That is, while he's still small, I think it's a good chance to make use of them. And once he gets a lot of customers, maybe he'll
yeah, well, that would be a good problem to have now, wouldn't it? Huh?
Yeah, well, yeah. So.
Well, say, and you're going to put our contact information under this video, right, so that they can reach out to us. But you can get me at dynaspecgroup.com. You're probably just going to have to put that in the.
I'll put it in. And also, people can find you on LinkedIn, right? They can connect with you, Josh.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. I'm around.
Okay. Well, I'll put your LinkedIn profile ID in the description. Go ahead, connect to Josh. He's a very responsive person. And if some people are looking for internship and they come from blue collar background, and if they seem very intelligent and like highly motivated, could they reach out to you maybe for internships, unpaid internships or volunteer opportunities, Josh?
I don't believe in unpaid internships, honestly. For my company, I prefer to pay our interns. So I won't offer unpaid internships, but when the opportunity arises and we're ready to bring on another intern, we'll absolutely be looking. And of course, I'd love to continue to look for those blue collar skills, because I think they're awesome. So yes, please reach out. I'm always happy to do what we can to help others. That's how I got here.
Go ahead and reach out. Yeah, I think it's he takes good care of his employees and invest in them. Something that I don't think a lot of Salesforce consulting companies do. Like I used to work at Accenture. They never sent me on training. They paid for my Salesforce certification. I was happy, but they just want you to be billing on projects. And that was like a 300,000 person company. And here's Josh, 3.5 person company, already sending his employees out on getting certifications, on learning Apex. And if I wear new shoes, junior Salesforce professional, go talk to Josh. He'll take good care of you.
Oh, thanks, Seyit. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, sir.
Josh, so you said the biggest challenge for you has been marketing, right?
Yeah. I think that's the real that's a real learning curve for us. It's the thing that I've never done before. It's my one new thing.
I agree. For me as well, right? I'm a Salesforce developer myself, but also in my free time, I'm a Salesforce mentor. I like to teach Salesforce to people, and I think I teach well. My program is getting better all the time. I'm preparing other people to teach. Josh, what is your vision for your company? In 1 year, you've done pretty well. You have revenue, you have customers, you have employees. Where do you see yourself in 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 years?
I really want. There was, when I first started, I'm like, oh yeah, 10 years and 20 million, blah blah blah. 55 customers, and right, it's what are these numbers? They're not real. I mean, they're just arbitrary. It's like you don't even understand. You're just like, well, I read that in a magazine someplace if somebody was successful, and apparently that's stuck in my head, right? Yeah. But as I'm getting into it, I'm realizing it's not about the pace of growth. And actually, I'm thinking that I want to restrict our growth. Growth is expensive, right? It's a cash-hungry beast. I've learned this in my past businesses. And so it causes you to work really hard, and sometimes you miss the important pieces. It's no longer fun. It's not It's not enjoyable. It's hard to live well under that kind of pressure. And that's not what I want for my employees or myself. And because that bleeds over into how you take care of your customers, right? When you and your employees are stressed to the absolute edge, how is it that you can respond to your customers in a kind and courteous manner? You surely can't, right? And so I don't think it's so much about the size of the company. I think it's that as we grow, I truly, truly want to focus on living well and helping others do the same. I want to ensure that my employees are enabled to live an enlivened life where they focus on the important things, their family, their personal development. And that when they come to work, because of that wellness in their life, they can deliver a great, just mind-blowingly good product to our customers. And I think they'll treat the customers the same way that they're treated. And so I think that's the vision for my company, is having the ability to take care of my employees the way I want my employees to take care of our customers, so that we can all live better. I mean, really, that's it. Wow. Maybe we won't be millionaires. That's okay.
That's okay.
I'm okay with that. You know what? If we're happy and everybody's taken care of and we get to sit down to dinner every once in a while, I think that's a pretty good way to be. So, yeah.
Yeah. I know a lot of people say they like to take care of their employees. The employee is the biggest asset, and our customers are the biggest asset. But I used to believe that when the people said that, and now I don't believe it a lot of times. Yeah, because everyone says it. But with Josh, I know you take care of your employees, and I mean, yeah, you take care of your employees. And I haven't met any of your customers, but I'm sure similarly, your employees take good care of your customers.
Yes, sir.
I believe what you're saying. Yeah, even though you're a very small company, you're growing fast, you need a lot of cash, but you still find the resources for your team members to learn. And it's not something that even medium-sized, larger companies do. Very cool. Very cool. So
thank you.
Your goal is to keep preparing smart or like dedicated employees, right? That's your measure of success, not like the $1 million revenue, $10 million revenue, right? That's not the metric you're going for.
Right. You know, I haven't done a great job yet of setting a metric about employee happiness. You know, have I met the goal of helping my employees live better? I don't have a specific metric for that yet. But yes, that's the goal. I want the highest possible ratio of our employees living better, living well, their lives being improved by working with us, not feeling, you know, like they're exploited or that we're taking something from them, that they're getting a fair exchange for what they're giving us. I think together we can live so much better that way. I think it's so much easier. So.
That's amazing. I want to invest in full-time employees like you have, but I'm afraid that if I invest in them, grow them, they can go to another company, and then my investments in them, they just take to the next company. And how did you overcome that fear?
Fear does some good things for you. Fear is a natural response. It sharpens you. It tells you what to pay attention to, but it should never prevent your action.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to recognize here. Sure, they may leave. It's a risk you're going to have to take, because, God, what happens if you don't do it and they stay? And then you got a company full of folks who are not trained, who aren't unified in some way. So take the risk. Take the risk. Your business is an investment. Everything's an investment. You invest well, and you treat them well, give them every reason to stay. Then they might not leave. So, you know what's beautiful about having come from the worlds, the backgrounds that we have, is we have plenty of examples of both what we want to be and what we don't want to be. And so just don't be what you don't want to be. Be more of what you want to be. And that should attract the right folks to you. It should. Cool. You're going to lose some time, say it, but that's okay.
It's okay?
That's okay. We all fall down, bud. We all fall down.
Okay.
I'll be the first one to tell you. I had a bankruptcy. You know, I had a bankruptcy. It cost me almost $200,000. I fell down, and then I fell down again. And then I finally got here. And, you know, we're not doing too bad. So it's okay to fall down. It's how you learn.
Wow. Amazing. Well, Josh, it was amazing to talk to you. We've spoken to you on the 1 year mark of you since starting the company. Let's talk again in 1 year, see how you've done, and celebrate your successes and talk about your difficulties, failures, lessons learned.
All right. I'm looking forward to it, Sayed. Thank you for your time. And we'll see you.